going inside GM's huge car assembly plant. Nearly 6,000 people work here, and we're getting the tour with the executive chief engineer of all GM's full and mid-size cars.
Now, Ken, as chief engineer, you're responsible for some of the newest vehicles in GM's lineup. They're right here.
That's right, that's right. And in fact, when you look at, we call this internally the Epsilon architecture. So we had a short wheelbase and we had a long wheelbase. And the newest one is the Chevrolet Impala, and that's the 5th one off of this Epsilon architecture.
This plant has been building cars for 60 years, but the technology has been continually improved. Now it's a flexible manufacturing facility with different cars all coming off the same assembly line. It's GM's modular strategy that allows crucial components to be shared among a number of vehicles. There's automation throughout the plant, but every assembly station has been designed for the best possible ergonomics. Now, there's a lot of manual assembly going on in the doors here. How do you make sure that it's physically possible?
Physically right. Oh, absolutely. That's important to us because when we start a project, we have to make sure ultimately that you can put all the parts and pieces together. Yeah. So everybody thinks of engineering as putting the designs, and do designs look good, and do they operate, and are they validated?
Yeah, then tell the other guys to build them.
Then go build it. So we've changed the process, and we've been really integrating with all of our manufacturing plants to make sure that the folks from the assembly plant are on site when we do our first prototype vehicles in Warren generally, or around the globe.
Oh, you bring them back to Michigan.
Yeah, we'll take a subset of the folks here and make sure that they agree to the assembly process. The ergonomics, can they reach it? Are the efforts there? How much stretch do they have to get to get to the bolt, etc. So we will do this analytically up front. We will kind of set up a virtual manufacturing facility. But ultimately, there's nothing better than having the folks do it themselves.
Well, I've seen people assembling, working on the doors while they're attached to the vehicle, and that's terrible.
It's too much. And then you end up with issues later on because you miss clips or you couldn't push it on.
Scratch it.
Yeah. So we think there's a better accuracy here, and we present the door to the assembler right at the right level.
Ken, one of the complexities of building a car is all the different car colors. This plant, you have, 8 Impala different colors, plus there's Camaro. How do you sort it all out?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and it's kind of a Rubik's Cube of solving that, because it's not just about the programs I'm responsible for, but it's for the Camaro and for the Equinox. So we have to get together as a team and sort out which ones we're going to use. There are some colors, the whites and the blacks, that you might see on all of the vehicles, but you're not going to see a Camaro yellow, for example, on an Impala, because that's not a typical Impala color. So we have to work each year with all the cross teams to do it. But one of the interesting things, as you can see, is we don't build all blacks for a day, or all whites, or all grays. We don't batch build them. Each vehicle is sequenced in, so one can be red, the next one black, and the next one white, which is an even more interesting factor.
So if somebody puts all this together on a spreadsheet, or is that basically how it's done?
Yeah, our logistics team is very good on figuring this out. It's amazing, because then you got to color code the trim parts and all the exterior parts that go with it to make that happen. Yeah, this is a very efficient plant, very efficient.
Here's flexible, V6, but that one's rear-wheel drive and that one's front-wheel drive, coming down right beside each other.
And that's one of the things that helps us out. So a Camaro can be a V6 rear-wheel drive, and an Impala can be a V6 front-wheel drive. They're actually the same engine, an LFX V6, except one is front-wheel drive, one's rear-wheel drive. And that helps us here, obviously, because you look at the engine componentry, they're going to be the same between the two, except for the adaptation for the front or rear-wheel drive.
You better match it up to the right car at the end, although I'm sure you will. Here's where the entire front console of the car is installed. Gauges, controls, airbags, the works. It has to be a precision fit. Whoa, now here's the money part, because the interior has got to be perfect in an Impala. That one seems to fit.
This is probably one of the most important steps on the interior quality of this vehicle. You're sitting as a passenger or driver, you're looking at this the entire time. This is it. But not only that, but it sets the datum for the doors, the fit and the finish of the whole car, squeak and rattle attributes, the whole thing, how the steering wheel lines up, everything is critical to that last assembly station. and you can see the amount of time that it takes to make sure that that's accurate, cross car, vertically, horizontally.
And I can see the ends of it because you wrap them around the door, you know, to give that sort of cockpit feel.
Yeah, and later on we'll see that is that the dual cockpit design of this IP leads directly into the door.
Yeah.
And if the height of the outside edges of that IP aren't correct, you'll see it when we load the door. So the accuracy of this is what sets up the interior quality for sure.
Now this is the station where the entire powertrain is married with the rest of the car. We're into the final stages of assembly now.
Ken, I hate to admit it, but I've been around in plants, you know, as a journo, long enough to remember the days when about here at Final Assembly, there'd be an army of guys with rubber mallets, and they'd be banging things into place and kicking things and pushing things. Where are the rubber mallets?
You're not going to see it. You're not going to see it here. Not at all. You know, when we toured the plant earlier, over in the body shop, that's where the accuracy comes in. We're building the bodies right. We're building the doors right. You saw the assembly where we had the doors on the vehicle for paint and initial assembly. That's what it's all about. Doing it up front and not having to bang it in at the end.
Did you learn these lessons from Toyota or from Honda or Ford? Or, I mean, where did these ideas come from?
I'll be honest with you, a lot of it's common sense. A lot of the team players saying they can do it over there, why can't we do the same thing and apply it? It's about the people here at the plant that said, I agree, we'll take on that challenge and we'll see what we can do. So it isn't about some monumental shift in a policy, but it's a lot of people pushing the margins and asking the questions.
Well, the sexy part of the car business isn't this. This is the nuts and bolts, the grunt, the stuff that people don't seem to understand.
That's exactly right. But what you saw, and I think maybe you saw as you walked around the assembly plant, is the passion is also with the people that are putting it together. I mean, these are all winning products, right? You've got an Impala count, a Camaro.
Did you win any awards for your Impala?
Yeah. Let's talk about the number of accolades we got on it. People want to work on something, and they feel like they're a winner when they do. When the car's a winner, they feel like a winner when they're working on it.
When the assembly is complete, each and every vehicle gets fully tested before it leaves the factory. Well, there it is, the Impala. You know, Cato and I test drove this thing down in San Diego, where we met you months ago. We drove it for a day, and we told you you had a winner there. You didn't look very surprised when we told you that.
That's right. And now we're very proud of it. We've been selling this now for 4 to 5 months, and the information and the feedback we're getting is exactly that. It's a winner.
Well, there's going to be an Impala waiting for us outside just as soon as it passes inspection. We'll drive it after the break.